So first and foremost, as always, when I do these presentations, I like to just welcome everybody to the event. Obviously, your time is very valuable to you and to us. We appreciate your attendance and just being here. It speaks leaps and bounds to the success and the support that you give us every single time you join us in these presentations. My name is Sean Kozak. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm the CEO of the company. I'm the lead architect with all software and systems across all of our development teams. And I'm a trader just like you, right? I'm no different. I've had really, really good runs in the market. I've got punched in the chin in the market, right? I've felt it. I understand it. I see it. I do it. I live it. I breathe it, and I get it, right? So that's kind of what qualifies me to even be here is that, I'm in the trenches every day, just like you guys. And more importantly, I try to approach the market from a statistical perspective. I'm not really interested in just, oh, let's trade a strategy or, oh, let's do this because it looks good and exciting. We normally will do things from a much more of a different approach. And that's really what led us to this trading system. We're going to talk about it in detail here today, but we are recording it. So if you don't get a chance to stay the whole time, we'll send you a recording out so you can watch it. I highly encourage that you watch this several times. This is not something like some of the other webinars that we've done. I truly think that this will change everybody and how they trade. It's changed me. And if it's changed me, then I can almost ascertain it's going to change everybody here. Now, this started with the opening range, and I've studied a lot of opening range traders as an opening range trader myself. I ultimately, how do I say this? I'm always trying to find ways to cut the losses. It's not so much always about throttling the upside. It's about cutting the losses or studying the losing days. And because the winning days are easy, right? They're the ones that work. But when you look at the losing days, you should study them 10 times out of 10, right? And why do I say this? Well, because it's going to improve your ability to see things when it's happening. It's also going to tell you that you're not perfect and there's ways to prevent the imperfection of days that basically rip us dry of our equity curve, right? Now, the probe and reversal trading system it's a statistical approach to the market. This is not just an indicator. Let me explain this. Anybody can go build an opening range breakout and put a box on their chart. There's a lot more going on here, right? This is not just an orb trading system. In fact, it's the complete opposite of opening range. What we're going to do is we're going to tell you when you should be an opening range trader and when you should not be taking opening range breakouts. We're going to identify how to identify manipulation. I'm going to show you a statistical advantage on how it does this and what it does. And we've developed software that will literally in a second tell you exactly, hey, like this is not an opening range breakout day. You should be waiting for the manipulation and you should be fading it, trading it the opposing direction, etc. And this is not some easy thing to just understand, right? Like you got to learn it, you got to understand it. Well, we wanted to make it super fast, efficient, and easy, right? So you're not doing it manually. And I honestly believe this has changed me as a trader, right? Like very, very rarely do I see negative days when I understand this. And does that mean you'll never take a stop? No. But if you understand what's happening, I can assure you the way in which you approach the open is going to change the rest of your life. And hopefully that's what we all came here to do, right? We came here to learn and become better, but more importantly, make more money and reduce the stop outs. Are we all on the same page? Yes or no? Type a Y in the chat box. I got your attention. We're ready to rock and roll. Okay. Disclaimer. Why? Why do we need a disclaimer? Well, regulation says we need it, and ultimately, I'm not here responsible for you. I can't take responsibility for your decisions. We all got the clickety clickety clicks of the mouse. We're all like gamblers. We're all degenerate gamblers, if you want to ask me the honest truth. We're all hooked, right? And that's the reality. And so the point of the matter is, past performance never guarantees future results. And if you are trading with our software and systems, please note that we're only here to give you education and show you how to use them. You're on your own accord with this software. Can you please type a Y in the chat box so I know that you understand the regulatory risks and that we can move forward like professionals? That'd be great. Fantastic. So let's talk about this. We're not going into a whole lot of hoofla boofla. Like we're getting right into the details. Okay. And we're going to look at a bunch of trades. We're going to study the trades. Okay. Breakouts and traps. Everybody wants to trade the opening range breakout, right? Everybody puts it on a 5-minute or a 15-minute chart. Very rarely do you see it on anything bigger than a 15 or a 5, right? That's the two go-tos. You're not trading a 1-minute breakout unless you're extremely brave and bold, but 5 minutes and 15. Would you guys agree the 5 and the 15 are probably the two most traded opening range timeframes that you'll hear in the industry? Yeah. Now, what we do is like personally, I haven't taken a trade in the first 15 minutes in months. Like I've moved to the 15-minute opening range, not because I want to trade breakouts. Like if I was a breakout trader, I'd probably trade in the 5 minute. The issue with the 5 minute is you can't really understand manipulation in the market. You don't really know what's going on. In 5 minutes, institutions are not doing their business. It takes time to control the open. And actually, one thing I want to tell you is that the opening range is the most manipulated time of the market. Like it's where they get a chance to just make everybody go backwards and crazy and think they're going this way and think they're going that way and this and that and that and this. And what ends up happening is you don't know what you don't know sometimes in situations. Now, there's going to be days where it's easy, right? And that's where we all feel like Robin Hood, right? But I can tell you right now, there's a lot of days where take a look at the Dow Jones today. It opened up 50% of its opening range. I've never seen that in a very long time. It's crazy. 50% of the daily HR is insane. We're going to talk about this. Now, what good is software unless I show you how to use it and I show you what it's designed to do? Absolutely nothing, right? If you're going to use a tool, we need to understand what it's designed to do, right? And the only way that I really like to demo software is through weeks of live trading. I've been trading this for weeks. I've documented, I've filmed it. I've sent you guys teaser videos because at the end of the day, like trading is trading. You're not going to listen to someone unless they have a handle on what they're talking about. And I personally can't trade anything, unless I've studied it, I've mastered it, I've seen it in different days, right? Because every day is different. How many of you guys would agree? And I always say this in every presentation. The reason the markets are so difficult is every single day is different. How many of you guys would agree with that? That's one of the most hardest things to accept, right? That every freaking day is different. Similarities, pattern recognition repeats itself over time, but like, holy moly, man, like talk about a mind, you know what? Like, I'm not going to cuss on the mic. I'm working on that. So let's get into this. We're going to talk about it. We've got some really cool stuff at the end of the presentation. You're going to want to stick around for this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to host a live trading session tomorrow for everybody using the software. So if you're going to be getting the software and you want to trade with me, I'm going to trade tomorrow with this, and we're going to open up a live trading session with me. Okay. And we're going to be going over a lot. This is not an AMA of the presentation. This is a live trade session with me, trading the system, trading the software, and going over the nuances in which I see in that day. Right now, let's talk about the problem here, because why use something if it's all perfect and hunky dory and it's all roses and butterflies? It's not. The opening range is a great trading system. But if anybody was in Jeffrey's room this morning running the ATS program, he took the breakout on the 5 minute and he just got his target before they flushed it. What you may not know is that I shorted the NASDAQ on the way down right as soon as Jeffrey was taking his target. You don't believe me? I'm going to show you. Took a screenshot of it right there. That's today. Shorted that bad boy all the way down. You understand that? Take a look at the timestamp. Take a look at today's price action. Take a look at everything. That was me. I literally shorted that all the way down. Now, Jeffrey was taking the opening range break here, pushed out, right? And I shorted on the way down. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I have statistical reason to take the short and not trade the breakout. Now, some opening ranges will favor continuation. I'm a big believer in that when you can see alignment in the trends, you can see alignment in correlation, you can see alignment in the EMAs or in the direction, or if you're on the right side. But how many of you guys thought the NASDAQ and the markets were going to trade up today off the open? I just want to know what you guys are thinking. The NASDAQ pushed up. How many of you guys thought that those markets were going to rip to the upside? Yes? It's not wrong if you didn't. I just want to know how many of you guys felt that. Okay. And this is what I mean by uh just the read on the market, right? What you may or may not know is that the markets were primed for shorts, But we don't know that in our own little world as day traders when we get that 15-minute open and we don't realize what the hell's going on. And I'm going to talk to you about why the market tanked today and what it was doing and why it was doing it. Okay. And so let's get into that. I really do think that the edge of trading is context, not strategy. Strategy is when you execute, context is when you make decisions. So when you can get in the habit of coming into your job in the morning and saying to yourself, I don't need to do anything until my context is in alignment with my thinking. I know exactly what I'm trying to do and why. And then when it happens, I will execute my strategy. Okay. The opening range is the perfect example of this because it always happens every single day. And then what'll end up happening is like some days will be easier than others. And some days just you might not get a trade. And then some days you'll get a couple trades. And some days you get a bunch of trades. And so it's not about one day, it's about the numbers over time. With the opening range, you've always got to trade on at least one of the markets in the indices across the four. And sometimes you have multiple. And so when we look at this, my job is to give you the information that's going to change your outcomes on trading the opening range, not just breakouts, not just reversals, but understanding why we do what we do. Okay. And there's a really big amount of money that can be made off the opening range. Like, let me reassure the potential. We all know how hard it can be, but it can actually be quite appealing when you understand um, what to do different. And hopefully, after today's presentation, you're going to see the magic here and what we're talking about. Okay. So I want to introduce you to the probe and reversal system. It's probably one of the most easiest things I've ever seen in my life, but yet it is so complicated to do manually because there's a lot of calculations, there's a lot of things that have to go in to understand this. And so what we did was we built it's very similar to the opening range. If you guys have traded the one and done, I'm sure you guys have seen the one and done indicator. You got many of you guys have it. If you're in the ATS, you have it. If you're a marketplace trader, you have it. Maybe some of you are coming over from ARC. It's one of your favorite indicators, eh, Mark? Yeah. Well, this is going to be your bigger favorite indicator. Why? Because I would rather do this because breakouts happen less. Breakouts happen less of the time. So when you understand the orb happens less of the time, really, really good orb traders are not just breakout traders. They're also waiting for the market to show, oh, breakout ain't happening. Time to look at a different approach. Okay. Now, what we do is we analyze the opening range and we compare it to its movement based off the daily ATR. Okay. And every market's different and every day is different. And the ATR is constantly changing. So when you look at trying to calculate this all the time, it's a lot of work. You got to set up the average range, you got to do your math, you got to calculate, etc. When we look at the opening range and when it's a specific percentile of the daily ATR, we expect there to be massive manipulation in the market. And let me kind of just show you what I mean by this. Okay, give me a second here. Okay. So you got to remember the job of the banks are to make money, not to please the traders. And the banks are going to do what they do. They need to fill big orders. They need to move big markets. Sometimes they can, I always say the markets can be a whole lot more liquid than you can be solvent. You could say, oh, they're going to keep going up and up and up. And, like a bank, oh, here's a great example. Like here's a resistance level, right? A bank can push, 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 push until you're completely bankrupt and then they drop it. Right. And same with the downside. So a couple things you want to understand. Here's the overnight, right? We're just trading up, we're trading down, we're trading up. Okay, there's the Globex, and then there's the Globex low, and then so there's the Asian session, right? And there's the European session. And then we're coming into the market right here, and there's the US session, right? And everybody's like, oh, there's liquidity here, and oh, there's liquidity here, and all the bullshit that we all tell ourselves because it's all just 20 different strategies going through our minds. And at the end of the day, the opening range is going to come here, right? Now, the opening range is either going to be 5 minutes or it's going to be 15 minutes. We're not doing 5-minute orbs because 15 minutes an institutional time frame, not a retail time frame. 5 minutes a retail trading time frame, period. Like if anybody tries to tell you that banks trading a 5-minute chart, they're just stupid. Sorry, but they're just not as far along as they should be in their journey yet. Not saying that everybody's stupid. I'm saying if they're trying to convince you of something that's false, that's stupid. Okay. Banks need to make big decisions on big time frames for big reasons. Why? Why do you think they're doing what they're doing? Anybody here want to give me an answer to this? You guys awake? Yeah. Because it takes time to move a lot of orders, trillions of dollars, billions of dollars, right? And it's not actually happening in the futures market. Here's a little proverbial bubble. Okay. Where do you think it's happening? Futures is not where the big moves are happening. It's in the options market. Yes, options move the futures market. So the options market's where billions and billions of dollars are traded, and because the option market moves, the futures move. So what's going to happen is I think it takes 10 seconds to place options trades. Come on, guys. There's a lot of stuff going on in the options markets. Banks need to hedge. There's delta neutral hedging. There's gamma hedging. There's market maker hedging. All this stuff is going on inside of the options market. Zero DTE is big time gamma hedging every single day. And then the opening range happens, right? And then you get the opening range, and all of a sudden, right, we're so glued into here that we're like focused here. But did anybody ever check the 30-minute or the 60-minute or just even understand what the banks are looking at? Like, it doesn't mean you got to trade on those time frames, but did you even consider that? No, you're looking at a 3-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, and it's like, okay, but let's go one step further, right? Let's say the daily ATR is moving like 3,000 ticks in a day. Okay. And all of a sudden the opening range opens up and it pushes up, boom, like just straight up through the roof, right? And it pushes up and it's like 800 ticks or 1,000 ticks, right? Well, wait a second here. Okay, let's just think for a second. Like, let's use common sense. If all of this is 3,000 ticks and one candle is moving a 30% of that, whoa. Like one bar is going to move 30% of the daily movement. What do you think they're doing? Like, really, what do you think they're doing? You think that's a normal trading candle? Or do you think that's massive, massive intent? They're doing things. They're setting you up. They're sucking you in, or they're setting the now, let me explain something. Once in a while, very rarely, you'll get a massive bar and it'll just keep going in one direction. How many times do you see the market just go straight up? No pullbacks, very rarely, right? Normally, very few, right? So, how do you build a business on something that happens very rarely? You cannot. So, you don't want to use those as an outlier in the discussion. You want to think for a second, okay? The likelihood of such a huge freaking move off the open is what? Starts with an M. What do you think that word is going to be? What do you think they're doing? They're manipulating the open. Big bar this way. All the emotional traders like, whoa, okay, we're going into an uptrend. They start buying the pullbacks. They start buying the pullbacks. And then all of a sudden they just say, whoop, what the hell just happened? Well, we're going to talk about that today. And let's say this is the opening range. Okay. Things that I like to look at, okay, is the trend on the higher time frame. Okay. Now, I personally will trade both sides of this, regardless of the higher time frame trend. However, I will always put a preference to the higher time frame direction. And a good example was today's NASDAQ short. A good example was today's NASDAQ short. NASDAQ went like this, whoop, right? If you don't realize the 60-minute time frame was in a strong downtrend, right? They probed up S&P, Russell, YM, all dropping off the open. What do you think the NASDAQ's doing? Well, everybody trades the NASDAQ. All the retail guys are in the NASDAQ. All the gamblers are trading the NASDAQ. So guess what they're doing on the open? All these markets are showing weakness. Big picture is down. And off the open, the NASDAQ just probes to the upside today. And guess what happened? NASDAQ came back down inside that orb. And then as soon as it got back inside that orb, it tanked. Now, trying to remember all this and do it all yourself, you don't have to. What we've done is we've got a tool that looks like this. Now, I don't use all of it. This is an expanded view, but it's going to tell you whether it's a probe or it's an orb. Now, I'm only trading probes. What is a probe? A probe is a manipulation. They're probing orders and then they're going to drop it. Okay. Now, there's a specific entry pattern that we look for in order for us to take the trade. I'll go over that tomorrow. I'll be going over all of the rules on how to take the entries, how to get into the trades, how to do the things, how to actually become part of what we do. And why? Because I want to show you multiple examples. I want to go over trades I've taken. I want to show you images today and examples of what I've done. The point of the matter is that when you understand what they're doing, you can approach things with a whole entirely new level of confidence. You don't have to fear the open. You don't need to rush the open. Who cares if you miss a freaking breakout trade or whatever? Wouldn't it be better to wait until you see that the breakout's a false breakout? It's a very minimal move, right? And basically, like if I can see that the opening range is a massive opening range and I see them breaking out, my mind is already saying that doesn't make any sense to me, right? And not all markets are created equal. Like the opening range percentage for the Nasdaq and the S&P is different than the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones opens up large every single day pretty much. So you can't compare the same math to the Nasdaq as you would the Dow, right? Like today the Dow opened up over 56% or like 53% of the daily ATR in one bar. It was a complete dump of the big stocks, complete dump. Now, let's talk about this. We don't use indicators for this. This is not an indicator. This is math. We're looking at a lot of different things. We're going to look at the tick size of the orbs. Okay. We're going to look at the orb direction. We're going to look at the tick size of the orbs. We're going to look at what is the most favorable trade based off what the opening range is telling us. Then we're going to take the math side of this, which is the most important part, and take a look. You can see like the daily ATR is 538 ticks. But holy Moses, right? Like this is basically 64% of the daily ATR. Orb is a probe, right? Like think about this. Like if I have a candle and that orb is 65% of the daily ATR, that's nuts. There's a massive short reversal or a long reversal getting ready to be played here. And when you see this on the chart and when you understand what this information tells you, right, this will be very valuable. Now, I don't use all of this at the same time because I don't need it. There's historical orbs as well. We can actually show back testing on the actual orbs. So you can go back and you can see all the days where the probes were there. We have back testing graphics on the software so that not only in the statistical box, you can go back and you can actually take a look at the prior days. That was critical for the build because we're like, it doesn't make sense if all we did was just show you today only. What about yesterday? What about the week before? What about last month? You can just add the days to your chart and you can go back and see every single day when the probes happened and how to take the entries in those probes. That's critical. And then once I show you tomorrow how I stack higher time frames to this or how I stack correlation to this, wow, it's powerful. Very, very powerful. Okay. So I just want to show you like, here's a great example. Now you can use regular bars. You can use Heiken Ashi candles if you want to. I look at both, right? And here's a great example. Now this didn't have the box. Take a look. No box. I had to draw the box. I had to calculate the ATR. I had to measure this freaking box. I had to compare it against the ATR and I had to tell myself, is this a probe? Is this a breakout? Like there's a lot of work. But I started trading it manually, doing it manually. And then I said, hey, wait a second. We're going to code this into a tool that everybody can use immediately super fast so that we're not guessing about what the hell we got to do off the open. Does that make sense? Now, let's take a look here. Here's me trading two markets, three markets simultaneously on this. I know it's a big, big graph. Let me just make this a bit bigger here for you. So let me show you. This is the NASDAQ. Grab a different, that's the NQ, that's the SES, the Russell, and the YM. Now take a look, okay? Take a look. Why was I not trading this market? Because this market didn't do what the other markets did, okay? This market swept the liquidity. This market swept the liquidity. And this was a probe. These were both probes. These were all probes. I just had it on different time frames at the time. But the point is that I shorted that all the way down. I shorted this down. Look at these big moves, right? And why do I do this? Because we're in a downtrend on the higher time frame, and they sweep the highs in a probe rotation, which tells me they're fueling the pump to go for a drive to the camp out. You know what I mean? Like if you got to go on a road trip, you don't just leave with an empty gas tank. The markets need orders. And what better place to get orders by sucking in all the retail traders and sucking in all the dumb money and taking out all the stops on the last structure levels and not trading in the direction. And some days the YM is a garbage market to trade. Some days it's a great market to trade. Some days the Nasdaq's a great market. Some days it's a shit market. You got to get used to understanding that the opening range in indices, there's four sisters. We call them the four sisters for a reason, right? They sometimes they agree and everything flows. And sometimes they're not in agreement and then the markets are shit. You got to learn how to identify, right? You got to learn how to identify which markets are in agreement, which ones aren't, which direction. And then when you put the probe on this, it's just such an amazing way to trade the open. And we're going to get into this, right? Because like, Taylor, here it is, just doing it on the web, right? Measure the box, did my math, took the trade. I just want to show you that it doesn't matter whether you're using web platforms, you're using desktop platforms. Now, the desktop is where the indicator is, but you could easily be trading it on the web if you have the indicator on the desktop, depending on what you want to do. I just like to show it no matter what I'm doing. This was the YM, took the long on the rotation. This was a sweep on the low. It was a big probe open on the 15-minute, took that long, right? Take a look at this. Okay. Look at these longs right here. Okay. I got long right here. I got long right here. I wrote it all the way through. I wrote this all the way up. What'd they do here? What'd they do here? Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So, yeah, sweep, but it's not even about the sweep. What matters is where you take the entry. You don't want to be chasing the opening range. If for whatever reason it just sweeps and pushes, like let's say it came down, whoop, whoop, you won't have a trade on that market, right? You can't just chase the market. You got to get a clean entry at the right location so that your risk reward makes sense. And for me, I've developed a process using both regular bars and Heiken Ashi candles. And I normally do it on a 3-minute time frame. The 5-minute takes too long. You miss the trades. You could do it on a 2-minute. I prefer a 3-minute. I look at the 15-minute orb and I use the 3-minute chart. Write that down. Those are golden time frames. 15-minute orb, 3-minute chart. Rody, it's a great question. We've actually got it developed for TradingView and also NinjaTrader as well. We have the licensing servers just getting turned on, and so eventually, if you bought it for Tickblaze, you would be able to use it on all three platforms. Yeah, yeah. Now, take a look at this. Look at this trade. Okay. Now, this is before I had the software built, and this is why I wanted to build the software because look at this huge 15-minute candle, right? Okay. What they do here? Huge 15-minute candle, right? It's on a 5-minute chart, but I'm just showing you the difference, right? Big 15-minute orb. They came down. Where's my entry? Where's my target? Where's my entry? Where's my target? There's a reason for it. Okay. Take a look at this right here. YM swept the high, dropped it all the way down. And we can target different areas in here. We'll talk about that based on conditions, right? Take a look at this. Okay. Now, like I said, this is how I used to do it before we built the software. I would put the charts here and I would have the daily ATR here and I would calculate this and I would get the calculator out and I would do all my math and I would draw the box and I would put a ruler here. And it's like, man, I don't want to do this. Like, I want to be able to just in 5 minutes or less have my read on the market properly done and basically done. Right? Bing, bang, boom. It's easy as that. It's simple, simple. Like, we're not going to sit there and make things harder. Our job is about execution, money management, and not hesitating when the opportunity persists. Because if you don't take the entry at the right place, you're going to miss the trade. And those trades are big trades. Right? We're not scalping here. This is the opening range on a 15-minute chart. These are big day trades. Right? Now, they can be a scalp if you want to, but you're normally going to get really good movement out of these. Why scalp it when the market normally will give you big moves, right? Here's a great example of me just executing at the right time. Look, they swept it here. This is a big open. Now that's a 15-minute orb, but you can't tell the difference because I was calculating this. They swept it right there, like just a sweep. And then I waited for my pattern. I took the short. I scaled it out. Right now, take a look at this. Right here's a great example of RTY and the Nasdaq side by side. Okay, they swept the high, swept the high. Got the entry, traded down. Took the entry, traded that down. Okay. I could show you image after image after image after image after image. And I can assure you that eventually you're just going to start to say, holy shit. Right. Now, the big thing for me is understanding, okay, how to use this. The software is going to do everything for you. You don't have to do it. You don't have to draw anything. You don't have to calculate anything. You don't have to, you just set your colors, put it on your chart. You can have it on a 1 minute, a 2 minute, a 3 minute, a 5 minute, 15, whatever you want. Just know this, that the 15-minute is the manipulation candle. So if you're going to use it on an hourly, well, that doesn't, okay. That's a swing trade time frame. Okay. If you use it on a 5 minute, well, that's a scalping time frame, right? Because it doesn't make sense. But if you apply this based off of what the market's designed to do, right? Within 15 minutes, you're going to see the probe or not, right? And if you look at today, the S&P was not a probe. The S&P was a very small opening range on the 15-minute chart. And when what happened, it just broke out because it wasn't a manipulation on the S&P today. Okay. So when you use this, what you're going to find is that it's going to make things very easy for you. The only thing you need to learn and write this down is the entry pattern, the entry, where you place your stop, and where you place your target. Okay, does that make sense? I'm going to show you here that we're going to wait for candle patterns. Okay, this is one of the patterns that we look at, and we're not talking difficult patterns. It's one pattern. I have one pattern and I only enter on one pattern. I don't enter on these pin bars. I don't enter on these, oh, there's a doji. Oh, none of that garbage. It's specific to closes and direction of the pattern. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically, yeah, I don't do candlestick patterns. I don't get into that. No. Like every day is a different pattern. How's your brain going to remember that stuff? We're not an encyclopedia here, right? We need simplicity. So for me, I look for my pattern. Every single time I have that pattern, I execute without question, right? Without question. And I'm targeting the midpoint as my first target and my opening range opposing side as my second, or I just target the opening range and I just move myself to break even and I just take bigger trades. Why? Because most of the time, if they're faking out on one side, they're going to the other side. And the only time they don't is when they get stuck on the midpoint and they rotate back up. So at least you're going to basically doing this, right? At least you're going to be doing this. No, you're not the only one here, Abraham, Umar. No, there's hundreds of traders in here. So the thing here is that there's a few things that I want to tell you tomorrow when I'm trading with you is how I look at the day, right? And how I look at certain things, right? So I want to share with you something, okay? You guys want to take a look at the NASDAQ right now? Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you some things on the NASDAQ, okay? We're going to take a look at a few things here. Give me a second. Yeah, and I wouldn't try to do this manually. I'll tell you why. Because every day changes, the ATR changes, the percentages change, each market's different. So trying to do this reproducing what we've built is not going to happen. It won't work. You're going to get faked out of days. You're going to have a day where it's, oh, you think it's good, and yeah, it's not going to happen. Right? Like you could try to do this manually, but I can promise you, I've got 10 years of experience, and even I doing it manually was very, very, very difficult. So let me share this with you guys, okay? Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the differences, okay? So let's just take a look at today's open. Okay, I'm going to turn off my striker levels because I'm just going to show you this for a second. Okay, so you guys see this? Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Okay, take a look here. Everybody looked at that candle today. on the opening range. Now I'm using Heiken Ashi bars. You can use whatever bars you want. It doesn't matter. I just want to share with you what I did. Okay. Does everybody see the NASDAQ? And does everybody see the S&P? Now, what's the difference between the S&P and the NASDAQ based off my boxes right here? What do you see the differences right away? Orb size, NQ is a probe, ES is a smaller range. Great. Right. So take a look at this. Okay. One is a probe, one isn't. Now, do you notice what I have up here? Why do you think I do this? Why do I have a higher time frame, a much higher time frame? Why do you think I do that? Now, I don't trade on that time frame. Why do you think I get an understanding? Get an understanding. It's like going out in a boat. You can have your fish finder and you're going to find your rocks and your depth and all that. But like, do you really know if you're heading into a tornado or not? Like, do you really know which direction of the ocean you're going? Like, you need to have some type of a compass. And remember, we're jumping in their boat. They're not jumping in our boat. So what do you think they're going to do? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. What's the direction of the NASDAQ? Down. Now, I don't trade the 60 as a scalper, right? I trade it as a day and a swing trader. But let's explain what happened here. Okay. We came into an overbought position on the higher time frame in the pre-market. Okay. And we're in a downtrend. So when I get the opening range, when I get the orb off the open, okay, and I had this today, and they did that, and they swept it up, okay, and this was going this way, and the Russell was going this way. My brain starts to say, well, wait a second. That's exactly what this strategy is designed to do. It's designed to tell us when they're manipulating the open. And what did they do? This is as fat. This is as most real as it gets. It's today. Okay, so there it is. So let's drop down to a time frame that we can trade on. Right there. So there's the manipulation. Okay. Yeah, I'm on Pacific time. Yeah. Yeah. And there's my pattern right here. Right there. There's my pattern. Right. I just take that trade, boom, 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 and down. Now, that was a really, really good short. That was a really, really good short. It went all the way down here, from here to here. Now, I don't expect you to catch the whole move, but you could take targets here, take targets here. It's a good spot to take your targets. That's the London low, and that's the entry here. It's a great short today. Let's take a look at the YM. What a market. What a market. Wow. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, okay? What direction is the higher time frame on the YM? 60-minute chart. Up. Great. Pretty simple, eh? We're not using drawing structure and all that. God, I can't do all that, man. Like, oh, this structure and that break and this and this and that. No, man. No. Our brains don't think fast enough to remember half of it. I'm not sitting here shunning anybody that does that. I'm just saying for me, little old me, Mr. Emotional Sean Trader, nope, I can't do that. Right? I need to keep it super simple, need to keep it super logical, keep it super like, okay, this makes absolute sense. Okay. 60 minutes up, 15 minutes up. Okay. Take a look at this. Market comes down, sweep on the 15-minute. I look for my pattern right here. There it is. There it is. And they say, well, don't put your stop there. That's crazy. Not good. And we would never put our stop there. ever, because that's a stop run. You can see it. You can see it. Stop runs happen all the time. How many of you guys have put your stop above or below structure and they sweep it and then they take off without you? On an orb, it's going to happen several times because you don't know how much fuel they need. Just today happens a lot. And so what we do is we got to target that midpoint. They're coming for that today. It took a long time for it to lift today, but let's take a look at this. There's the entry, right? And we're going to keep it going here. Now, why is this such a big target and a big stop? Because the orb was 50% of the daily ATR today. So that's the trade plan. Okay. That's the trade plan. And you'd be in no harm's way. Trading a micro, you'd be making a lot of money today on that setup. That was a probe. Very rarely do we see a 50% open. Like it almost doesn't happen. It will never happen on the other markets. That's crazy. But it happened on the YM today. And the YM gave a great trade right here long. Our trade management rules that I'll teach you tomorrow will ultimately protect you from stop runs. So you're not getting kicked out of terrible trades. Okay. And that's that. Like it's going to hit the midpoint and it's going to take a 0.5 target. And it might not get all the way to the top of the orb today because it's a 50% open. But it's a great example. Let's take a look at the Russell today. Okay. Russell came in. Okay. But let's talk about this. What's the direction of the Russell? Down. Okay. So the likelihood for shorts is probably stronger, right? Now we don't necessarily trade the 60, but what the banks are looking at is this time frame. Okay. Banks are looking at this time frame. Okay. So the 15-minute comes in and they came in and they swept the low, right? Let me ask you a question. Is this counter trend on the big picture? Yeah. That's a flush down. Now, could you trade counter trend? Yeah. But you need to understand that there's going to be days where the market's not going to give you the lift, right? Take a look here. Now, the pattern was right here. Okay. And you would have got in on this candle here or on the pullback theme or whatever right there, right? And let's take a look at where the stop loss placement should be. Okay. Right there. Now, you would have been in after that spike because the entry pattern didn't happen until 3 bars after that spike. But still, that's still the risk reward for the trade. Now, you would have been able to take some profit, hopefully at the midpoint, but the Russell's the weakest market. And you're going long against this. Think for a second. Banks are flushing down. We don't probe against the banks. We probe with the banks. YM and the NASDAQ, badass trades today. Both of them were trading with the direction of the higher time frame. Both of them hit targets, right? Now, like I said, you may not have 4, 5, 6 trades in a day. Why? It's not meant for that. YM just hit midpoint target. NASDAQ, okay, hit all the targets. Wasn't a trade today on the S&P. Make sense, guys? You guys understand this? Type a Y in the chat box that this is somewhat resonating with you. You guys start to understand that, okay? Yeah, or just don't trade it. Just don't trade counter trend. Like, I guess for me, what I'm trying to get at is like, I'm in the business of trying to reduce as much risk as possible and trying to reduce my stop outs and trying to increase my expectancy and trying to learn from all the mistakes and all the days where the market didn't make it really easy to get paid. Okay. Anybody posting anything in here other than this presentation will not get replied to, guys. There's a support team for that. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Okay. We're going to go in here. And first of all, did you guys learn something from that? Did anybody learn anything from this? Yes? Okay. Now, let me explain a few things. I've been a scalper for a very, very long time. Okay. it was difficult for me to let it go. It was difficult for me to change the way I looked at the market because I've been doing it for so long that I just felt that that's how I was supposed to trade. Now, I'm here to tell you that less is more and you make more. So let me ask a couple questions, really intelligent questions here, because I know a lot of you are still struggling drastically, and that's not your fault always. It's human nature. We're going to go through our journey and we're going to go through things as we go through it. How many of you guys are ready to you just can't keep doing what you're doing realistically? Like you just know it in your head. You just can't keep doing what you're doing. There's probably a lot of you. Just be honest. Yes. Paul says, I'm getting help in the AQS. That's great. ATS is helping. Jeff says, scalping is not for me. Tough to realize. Great. Well, let me explain something to you. I took a psychology test from a trading psychologist company. Big test. Took me an hour or so to fill it out. And it said, oh, I'm a scalper. So I just scalped and scalped and scalped my way right to chaos, right to chaos. And what I realized is that just because I have a temperament to do something doesn't mean that that's the way I'm supposed to do it. And you got to be willing to change the way you do things if you want to have different results. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, some of the world's biggest payouts that have ever happened in prop history, you can Google this. You can Google their names, Apex and Top Step and a few other big payout traders, a couple big names out there. I don't need to go and mention them. They don't trade on anything less than a 15-minute chart. They're trading on the hourly and the 15, period. Do you understand that? And they were traders for years too, struggling and losing. But then what happened to them? They had an epiphany. And that epiphany is like, wow, okay, like I either got to get on getting on here or I'm going to get kicked out. And a lot of you know that you need to make this change, but it's hard. And it was extremely difficult for me, right? But I told myself, no, like what's more important? Ego or results? What's more important, my pride or results? Right? Now, I don't say this to challenge you in a negative way. I say this to push you into the direction that is necessary to have pivotal moments in your career. This system changed me. Not all the systems change me. Not all the systems I leave with the same feeling because they're not all created equal. And when I started to realize that every single day, the opening range plays a pivotal point of what's taking place in the institutional market. I don't mean just breakouts. I mean an understanding what the banks are doing, right? And this is where a lot of times you're going to go on YouTube and you're going to do things and you're going to watch videos, you're going to listen to influencers and educators and instructors like myself, and they're all going to give you bits and bits of different information. I know this because I also learn and I also study. But one thing that I do is I don't listen to a bunch of stuff that is not right to be listened to. This, for me, made me change my entire trading plan, made me change my entire daily discipline. Because of this, I don't even have to even worry about trading the open. I get 15-minute extra right off the open. I sit and have my coffee, I journal, I read the Bible, I do what I got to do in the morning. I come into work. I sit here in a passive, patient mindset and emotional stability state. And why? Because it's allowed me to not get tossed around in the minutia of the market. Oh, the 1 minute trend. Oh, there's a structure break. Oh, there's an EMA cross. Oh my God. Oh, okay. But like when you leave the markets in the morning, you almost feel like you got punched several times in the face because it's so stressful. It's so negatively captivating. You know what I mean? And you'll have days and days of run, and you'll make money, and then all of a sudden the market just rips you apart, and then you change something. And then the next day you come in and it goes back to being great what you were doing because you changed something, all of a sudden everything falls apart again. How do I know? Because I've lived it. How many of you guys can relate with what I'm saying? You do great for a week, and then all of a sudden you see some patterns. You say, well, I'm going to tweak this. You tweak it. The next day you get cooked. And then you're like, oh, crap. Like, why did I tweak it? Why did I change what I was doing? It was working every single freaking day. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay. It's humbling. It's emotionally humbling. And it's sometimes emotionally challenging, right? This software changed the way I trade. I hope that it can change the way you trade. I hope that you can see that there's a difference between buying an indicator and buying a different life. To me, this is a different life, which is why I feel so strongly about it. Um, you can ask my team. I've met with them all days and days and days. So much. Look, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something. Okay. I'm going to just grab the folders, right? The folders of what I'm doing. Okay. So I started filming, like filming journeys. Like these are filmed sessions of me trading this, like hour-long videos, just talking to myself. Why? Because it keeps me accountable to myself. My non-negotiables, rules when we take the trade or not, right? How to read gamma and how to use it with, and I'll teach you this tomorrow when we go to the session, right? Take a look down here. Probe. Look at all these pictures and all these trades that I take. Like I just take them and I take them because I'm just like you guys, eh? Like I'm not just some guy talking on the mic. Like I actually have a journey of my own trading and I have my own days of greatness and days of struggle. And it's the days of struggle that I'm able to identify what to build, what to fix, how to do it differently, and then help change hundreds of people's lives through that. That's why I keep doing this because I keep seeing so many people grow and so many people advance through what we're doing. It's not just about software to me. It's about pivotal moments in time where a bunch of people send me emails and say, wow, this has changed my life. This can change your life if you want to learn how to do it, right? If you're willing to make a couple changes. Give me a yes if you're willing to come tomorrow with me, trade, make some changes, do a few things different, and learn a few things from a very experienced trader. I'm not better than anybody, but I have a lot of experience. So I will share that experience with you. Yes? Great. Now, what we're going to do, okay, is, give me a second here, grab my slide deck. We're going to do a poll. Now, we're going to do the poll right now here. Who's got the link for the poll here, guys?
You talking the giveaway or the
Yeah, the giveaway. Yeah, the
giveaway?
giveaway
Yeah.
link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that. You guys ready to win? Here's the deal. If you're in ATS, do not enter the giveaway.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it. Let
Yeah, if you already
somebody else
bought the
win.
ATS, you've already invested in the Diamond Hands package, right? Like you've already
Yeah.
committed. You're already a part of the cool club. Not that anybody
Yeah.
here's not cool. I'm just making jokes, right?
So yeah, so if you already have it, don't enter. Everybody else enter now. There's the link. Enter to win.
So let
We'll
me
pick a
explain.
winner.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
explain something, Jim. We're going to pick the
Yeah.
winner now so that you know whether you need to buy it or not,
Yeah.
right? So just know this, that everybody's got to submit their entry so we know. Okay.
And guys, it's only ATS not to enter. AQS can enter, right?
Yes, AQS, this is not included in the AQS. This is not an algo. This is, and let me tell you, this will change the way in which you trade algos. Why? Because when you see what's happening on the opening range and you know what they're doing off the opening range, you can engage and disengage your systems based off this information. In fact, it's one of the things that Burzen's planning on doing on a daily basis in the room so that you guys can understand what's actually taking place. And then what's going to happen in the in the future, in a very near future, we're going to release the algo. So the algo, all the AQS traders will get. But I still think what you need to do is get you need this software. Like if you don't have this software, you're a duck in the water. I just believe that in my, yeah. Daniel Robinson. I gotta love the on topic text. Great. Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to give everybody a chance to fill out that poll and make sure we get it. And my team will announce a winner, and then we're going to get into this. No, it's okay, Dan. I just think it's funny. Okay. Now, we got a winner here, guys.
Oh, we haven't gotten that far yet.
Haven't got that far?
No. Give me a minute and then I will run it through the randomizer right now.
While we're waiting, does anybody have any questions based on what we talked about? Tell me if you guys have any questions. We're going to be trading tomorrow. So we're going to go over the price tag here in a second, but let's just talk about this. Okay. So tomorrow, okay, it's everybody's turn to win, Joe. You got to pray for others. And then basically what happens is things just start happening for you. Right. Tomorrow, what I'm going to be doing is it's a live session with me off the US Open. Now, we're not going to trade in the first 15 minutes. So don't come thinking I'm going to take a trade in the first 15 minutes. It's available for Tickblaze now, Abraham. If you buy it, we're actually releasing licenses for both TradingView and NinjaTrader. It's actually what's happening for a lot of our software, right? A lot of our software, you'll get access to it on multiple platforms in the very near future. So it's not the same system, Raleigh. It's nothing to do with it. Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to be trading this. Now, just disclaimer. I don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to probe or not probe tomorrow. I don't know the open, but we're going to find out together tomorrow, and we're going to assess it tomorrow, and we're going to make decisions tomorrow, and that's just the way we see it, right? We're going to make those things happen. Okay. And so the goal here is to be able to ensure you understand how to do this and understand how to use the software, but I'll also be taking trades if the market gives it to us. It affects everything, Brian. In fact, for me personally, Brian's asking a good question. How do you see the orb, this daily probe system, affects my choice of trading systems? It tells me how to trade the market. Like it'll tell me when to engage in the uptrend or the downtrend. It'll tell me when to engage in the reversal. It'll tell me whether or not we're expected to trade all the way through back to the other side, right? Like, and it's important to understand that, right? No, weeks, not even weeks, Morali. Yeah, we're dealing with the licensing now, and then should be very soon. Yeah.
So the giveaway poll for some reason is not working on our end, so it's going to take a little time for us to pick somebody out of there. We do have the entries. We just can't actually go in and see the entries for some reason.
Okay.
The tool that we use isn't working.
We'll mail it. We always do, guys. We'll pick a winner. Just know that if you buy it and you are the winner, we will refund your money. We've done that several times, right? And we're straight shooters here, right? Now you can use this on any market. You can use this on crude. You could use this on gold. You could use this on the euro. It's all relative to the market that you're trading. So just make sure you're trading it off the proper open. Okay. Now, the software, okay, cost $12.95, okay, to buy it. And this is the indicators, all of the updates, the user documentation. You'll get a license. It's a one-time fee. You don't have to pay for multiple fees and all this stuff like that. And we'll give you the desktops. Now, we can install it if you're new to Tickblaze. Now, here's the thing, right? We are building licenses for TradingView and NinjaTrader. So what we're doing is we're going to be able to give you access to those licenses when they're made available. So if you're somebody that likes to trade on multiple platforms, maybe use Tickblaze, maybe use Ninja, maybe use TradingView, whatever, just know that we're actually in the process of coding these, and they've already been coded, actually. We're just now licensing it. So if you buy this on Tickblaze, you will actually get a license for the other platforms as well. It'll be made available in the download section eventually. Just note that our team's been working on that. So the cool thing is you can come in, use it on Tickblaze now, learn with us now, trade with us now, and then if you want to use it on the other platforms, you can. That's in the process. It's something that we're doing as a company to be able to do that. Yeah. Now, if you put your name in, not all of them, Tom, just the main ones that we use on a regular basis, the primaries that are used in all of the trading rooms and the ones that basically everybody uses. Yeah. Good questions, Randy and Tom. I know you guys are asking that because some traders use multiple platforms, but yeah, those will be made eventually. Yeah, those will be made eventually. Hat and the one and done and the probe and all that stuff. Yeah. You'll get an email when this stuff is ready, guys. If you're buying it on Tickblaze, you'll get access to it. If you don't buy it, you won't get access to it. Right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up for questions while you guys do this. I'm going to run a poll in here for a second just so I can get an understanding of everybody here. Now, please do me a favor. Okay. Please do me a favor. Okay. I need to know if everybody here, if you could just answer these questions for me. If you're planning on buying it, if you're not in the ATS and you're planning on buying this and you're planning on trading with us, then please put a yes. Okay. If you're in the ATS, don't fill this poll out. Like you don't need to fill it out. Okay. Right. And if you want to talk to our team, right? If you want to talk to our team, basically put it in the chat, right? Please fill out the poll, guys, because it helps me understand who's trading with us tomorrow. If you're purchasing the software, you'll be able to trade with me tomorrow. If you don't purchase software, you won't be trading with me tomorrow, right? Everybody in here, and if you're in the ATS, you can come and trade with me tomorrow. Yeah.
And Sean, can I just say, I've got the whole ATS room in here with us. You all have homework. You got to look at the user guide tonight before Sean's trading tomorrow, okay?
Yes.
Just like school, you're going to get much more out of it if you read the chapter before, okay? So
Yes.
read the user guide tonight, and that will make a big, big difference tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly. Sounds like a plan, Michael. Exactly. Please fill out the poll, guys. I need to know everybody because if I'm running the rooms and I'm doing this, we need to send special links, etc. So just please fill out the poll if you can, and that way we know. It's important that I get all the details so our team can basically do that. Not a problem, Daniel. Does anybody have any questions while we're doing this? No, this is for the software, Geo, that we just did. Yeah, the software demo that we just did, all of that. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Now remember, Tickblaze is free, right? Tickblaze, see question above. I don't know what your question is. There's too many questions in here. If you could retype it, that'd be great. So Tickblaze is free if you download it. It comes for free. You can download that and get access to it, right? Right. I have it layered with hat because I like to see when the volume steps in, Patrick. Yeah, I like for me, I'll give you an example, right? Like for me, like if I'm looking at this and I look at this and I'm taking a trade here. If I see the hat coming in, now the 3 minutes, not the 1 minute, it's a bit bigger than the 1 minute, but if I see the hat coming in here, right, and that volume, that normally tells me I'm getting some more follow through, but I'm entering the probe on a different setting. It's a different pattern. I don't enter on the hat on the probe. They're two separate systems. Yeah. 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 And the reason I trade the probe in reversal is because ultimately, well, I get trades every day with it, right? I get trades every single day. And that's the key. No, because Chad, the reason why we get trades on a daily basis is because, well, because their opening range is there every single day, right? It just depends on the way they manipulate the open or they trade back into the open, right? If you look at the NASDAQ, right, the NASDAQ tried to come back in here, but the trend is down, right? The trend is down, right? And so I'm not interested in trading that. This trend is down, right? So I'd be more interested in the shorts. Why? Because trend is down. Hat just gives me confluence on my entries. Hat just gives me more confidence to hold the trade for a longer period of time when I'm trading the orb. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Great.
We are able to pick a winner now. Our team is
Okay.
fast. We don't mess around. So let's pick a winner.
Sure.
Random winner. Let's see. Who's it going to be? All right. If your name is Chad Sinclair, you are a winner. Congratulations.
Chad Sinclair, you just want a license, brother?
I love the fact that his email has Lucky in the email too. That is perfect.
That's fantastic. Hey, all right, Chad. Now listen, a couple things. Geo, this is not meant for the web platform. The web and the desktop are two separate tech stacks. Two separate tech stacks. Yeah. So this is meant for the desktop. Yeah. So you would need to use it on the desktop. Yeah. And we will be making it available on the other platforms soon. Yeah. Great. Couple questions here. I'm going to be doing a master class. So a lot of you guys have been sending me emails. I want more time with Sean. I want to trade with Sean, blah, blah, blah. Like I'm no better than any of my instructors. My instructors are great. They know what they're doing. They got their rooms handled. I'm just me. I trade my way. I trade differently. Okay. And so I've decided to put on a master class. It's not a boot camp. It's not part of the ATS. It's not part of the AQS. It's 2 days of trading with me plus an afternoon strategy class. This is going to be, you're going to get emails probably later this week about it. So for those of you that want to trade with me and want to actually participate in that, then you can let me know and you can basically sign up. You'll get emails for that. Type of why if you'd love to trade with me for a couple of days in a private master class, just a deep dive trading sessions, deep dive everything. Yes. So great. So I will be putting on a master class. It is not part of the other programs, guys. So even if you've purchased the other programs, it is not part of that, right? It is completely outside of that because it's not actually how the other instructors trade. Some of the stuff is there, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, now I'll be coming in the room shortly, guys. Mark says, when are you coming in the ATS? Soon. Just been building some big things here right now. We've got some big stuff in transition on the company, so my time has been quite limited, but I will be there, right? And we've got a lot of great stuff coming. But guys, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us time out of your day. Always a pleasure to help you guys and figure out the best way to help you guys make more money. You guys can check in with my team if you need help or if you need any assistance, and we've always got your back. So let me know if you guys need anything, and my team can reach out and give you guys an install or do whatnot. And tomorrow morning, I will see all of you that are trading with me bright and early. Early bird gets the worm, guys. Have a fantastic day. Hope you guys enjoy the trading system, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.